Let me ask you something. What kind of being walks away from the crowd, loses everything, stands alone, and instead of breaking, becomes crowned? Not everyone survives isolation. Most people decay in it. But you transformed in it. And that's when the world realized it couldn't control you, so it had to elevate you. You need to understand something. When you chose the solo path, when you stopped explaining yourself, when you stopped chasing validation, when you let them misunderstand you, that wasn't loss. That was initiation. Because separation is the test reserved for the rare. Average souls need noise. Real ones are forged in silence. And silence is where power recognizes power. Notice what happened. When you detached, everything started shifting. People who ignored you started watching. Opportunities appeared from nowhere. Your presence started hitting differently. That's not coincidence. That's alignment. When you stopped begging reality for approval, reality adjusted itself around you. Here's what most people don't realize. The moment you no longer needed applause is the moment you became undeniable. You didn't get louder. You got deeper. You didn't chase attention. You became magnetic. Because power like yours doesn't announce itself. It radiates. Let's go deeper. There are two types of people in this world. Those who are shaped by the environment and those who reshape the environment by their existence. You became the second one. And that transition, it requires isolation. It requires misunderstanding. It requires being seen as different, because you are. The crowd couldn't hold you. The room couldn't contain you. The old version of your life couldn't sustain you. So everything that couldn't rise with you had to fall away. That wasn't punishment. That was purification. Listen carefully. When you walked alone, you weren't abandoned. You were being observed, tested, measured. The universe was asking, can they stand without support? Can they build without applause? Can they remain solid when nobody is watching? And you did. That's why things are shifting now. People think elevation is loud. It's not. Elevation is quiet. It's subtle. It's when you walk into a room and don't need to say much, but the room feels you. That's presence. And presence is earned through pressure. You survive the pressure. That's why you don't move like them anymore. You don't react the same. You don't argue the same. You don't chase the same. You've seen what solitude does. It sharpens perception. It strengthens discernment. It eliminates dependency. And once dependency dies, authority is born. Here's the part they don't tell you. The crown doesn't get handed to the loudest. It gets handed to the most disciplined. The one who didn't fold. The one who didn't betray themselves to fit in. The one who chose growth over comfort. That's you. You went solo because your expansion required space, and space requires distance. Distance from noise, distance from distraction, distance from small thinking. And now your energy is calibrated, focused, unbothered, precise. Do you realize how rare that is? Most people crumble without constant validation. You built yourself without it. Most people need approval to move. You moved without permission. That's why reality had no choice. It had to recalibrate around you. Because here's the truth. When someone becomes self-sustaining internally, they become unstoppable externally. You're not operating from lack anymore. You're operating from identity. And identity doesn't beg. Identity commands. That's why things feel different lately. You're not chasing outcomes. Outcomes are aligning with you. You're not forcing connections. Connections are gravitating towards you. You're not convincing people of your value. They're sensing it. Because value that's built in isolation carries weight. And let's address something deeper. The loneliness, it wasn't random. It was strategic. It removed the crutches. It exposed your fears. It confronted your insecurities. It forced you to meet yourself without distraction. Most people avoid that meeting. You survived it. That's why you walk different now. You don't panic the same. You don't rush the same. You don't need the same. That's growth. And growth at that level is dangerous in the best way. Because once someone realizes they don't need external validation to feel powerful, they become immune to manipulation. And once you become immune, you become sovereign. Sovereign energy doesn't compete. It dominates silently. It doesn't argue. It observes. It doesn't seek recognition. It becomes unforgettable. That's why doors are opening. That's why certain people feel intimidated. That's why others feel drawn to you without knowing why. They feel the shift. Now here's your reminder. This is only phase 1. Isolation was the forging. Now comes the expansion. Now comes the visibility. Now comes the manifestation of everything you refined in private. And because you didn't rush the process, the reward will be multiplied. Remember this line: the universe doesn't crown the dependent, it crowns the self-governed. And you proved you could govern yourself, your emotions, your impulses, your direction, your energy. That's leadership, that's rarity, that's power. So if you've been questioning your path, if you've been wondering why it had to be so lonely, know this. The path was narrow because your destiny is large. The circle was small because your capacity is massive. The silence was deep because your presence is louder than words. You didn't lose people. You outgrew timelines. You didn't get rejected. You got redirected. You didn't walk alone. You walked ahead. And now the crown fits. Keep rising.